Hard to Kill.
Welcome back to the channel. Hard to Kill podcast here.
Episode 4.
Number 4. This is our 4th of July special. The one time a year it comes around, we're going to celebrate America's birthday this weekend.
Kick it off right.
We got some big plans. We got some good topics for the show today.
We got a special guest.
We got a special guest with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Mr. Sean Ingram.
He's going to be on here telling his story. And
our first interview.
Yeah, actually.
You know, we said we were going to come at you with an interview, and we're bringing him the kid himself today.
And I forgot my lipstick. I apologize for this.
So, me and Sean have been talking back and forth about, we've been talking about a podcast for a little while now, dude.
We have.
So, of course, Sean had to get his own mic, but so he's on the pike over here, and he's like, well, I might have forgot something.
I took a bomb rip before I left, man. I was all nervous about this, and then I was at the point of no return. So it was either keep on going.
Here, we're gonna make it work.
Send it.
We're gonna improvise, adapt, and overcome, as they say.
Listen, one day there's gonna be a big studio.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars. Involve Joe Rogan. He'll be asking to come on this one.
Can you imagine that?
He won't, though.
No, he won't.
He probably won't forget his microphone either.
That's for sure. Well, he'll actually probably invite you guys to the studio.
If one of us ended up on Joe Rogan, dude, I would absolutely lose my shit. I know it's never gonna happen, but
I just want to sit in his sauna.
Believe it or not, we're behind this guy called Joe Regan on the way on the pike. I'm not even lying. Saw his truck named Joe Regan.
He's really the one that started the thing that I love the most about podcasts is how he just digs into an interview, man.
Says whatever he wants.
Absolutely anything he wants.
There's no filter. Like I like that aspect. You don't have to hold anything back.
He got a lot of people mad at him, dude.
Well, I mean, not everybody in life's gonna love you.
And I love him for it because
he's not afraid to be himself.
We were saying
that's huge.
Me and you were talking earlier how podcasts are kind of taken over for almost how we get a form of news.
Yeah.
And it's weird because cable's kind of getting phased out.
Well, all mainstream.
And
media.
you're a big cable guy, dude.
I'm a TV guy.
You?
No, I have Hulu TV just because I don't have enough time to charge you an arm and a leg to have cable service. They get you for the landline. Who uses a landline?
They lock in the internet too.
Yep, and so I just get the lowest form. It's not like being back in the barracks. You can pay $40 for all inclusive. Remember those days?
Dude, that was. And we had HBO and shit.
Yep.
They take care of you in the barracks, dude.
Yeah.
If you're a bachelor, dude, get everything you need.
And having a meal card.
It is nice having your boys right there too, dude. You don't have to go anywhere, dude. Just go a couple doors down, slime over the wall.
You can drink like a degenerate. Use all your money that you have in your bank account, but you always have the good old chow hall. Right across the street.
I mean, we always bitch about it, but dude, the chow hall's always there, dude.
I loved the chow hall.
Omelet bar in the morning, dude. You're a breakfast guy. You gotta appreciate
fucking
that.
Right, I am.
White
Biscuits and gravy.
You remember Mongolian barbecue?
I do. That was definitely didn't have that anywhere else other than Okinawa. That was a beautiful time.
I know. Surprisingly enough, some of the best food is in Japan, dude.
I eat good over there. Yeah, definitely eat good.
The chicken bowls.
Well, you guys know there's the most 100-plus-year-olds per capita in the entire world is on Okinawa.
Really?
Yeah, do their diet.
The longest?
Yep. 100 plus. Yeah, you can look that up. Fact check me.
No shit.
It
makes sense, dude, because they eat good, they exercise.
Yep.
So the three of us spent a good amount of time in Japan together.
Okinawa, yeah.
Okinawa, Japan, a little island off mainland Japan. Mike, you were at Hanson or Foster?
Camp Foster.
Okay. Over there, Foster's like I would say the main base, right? I mean,
it is there in Hanson, but Hanson you had more of the administrative guys. I'm sorry, Foster had all the administrative guys.
Yeah, and then,
Hanson had all kind of the ruffians.
Yeah. You know the hood. The hood was over it.
Hanson's where you went to the Hook and Jab.
Yeah, absolutely.
You went to Foster. It was
in town right outside the gates.
So there's something about going to an E-club on Hanson or Foster, because something you got to understand about Japan is you go, Friday comes around, you just get your check, dude, and the first thing you're locking in is you're going going over to Kadena, maybe hitting Chili's. You know what I mean? Get that meal in, and then
baby back.
Something I've heard is that is like one of the most poppin' Chili's in the whole franchise.
I believe it's number one.
Yeah, it's actually up there.
I think it's like top 5.
Always slammed.
Oh yeah, line out the door.
Always hot Air Force wives.
Yeah. Line out
Travis,
the door.
come on.
Every week. Oh, now he finally thought of something.
Travis, you're on the pod, dude. What's good?
I was just having a conversation, man. Hey, another topic could be how the military pretty much condones alcoholism versus using marijuana products.
We actually were just going to talk about. It's funny that you say that.
Smith, it's funny you say that because I remember a time when we smoked spice out at Araha Beach. we were worried about your brother.
He goes, I don't remember that.
I don't know what the hell.
Then he hung up.
Oh, Martin, you're live on my. We might as well get a little request line in here. Yes. Martin, you're on the podcast right now. How can I help you, my friend? So this right here is Doc Martin. He was deployed with my guys over in Afghanistan.
Sounds like a pair of sneakers.
Doc Martin. How can I help you, my friend? So unfortunately, I'm going to tell you a story real quick, bro. So he came back from Afghanistan, and recently he got attacked by a pity dude.
Who did this?
Yeah, bit half his arm off, bro.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. You never. I mean, I love pit bulls, but I mean, as you know, you can never.
That's like my worst nightmare.
Yeah,
I'm a mailman.
Once they get a hold of you,
I don't fuck with the dogs.
Yeah, you guys have a history together.
Yeah, dude, it's a beef. It's like Bloods and Crips, man.
Martin, I'll hit you up after I get off.
Alright, brother.
Alright, brother, be good. So Travis,
He had his arm bit off by a dog.
like no, half like had his shit hanging out, dude, ligaments and everything.
I know he was Navy, but come on, dude.
Jeez.
Dude, I would snap a dog's neck if that. I would come back and shoot it.
Yeah,
Dude.
you'd be done.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
they say if a dog ever goes for
PETA,
you,
go easy on us.
you're supposed to put your fist into them and then choke them, and then if you have a knife, you go right for the throat.
It would be convenient to have a
When
knife.
you're slashing dogs on
Yeah.
fucking Main Street.
I know, man. My weekends get. No, I'm just kidding.
Where were we at before we got 2 calls?
Okinawa.
Okinawa.
Okinawa, yeah.
Okay, so the move in Okinawa, you go get some food in you, and you align the crew for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And usually you're hitting what, Gate 2 Street or Kintown.
Yep.
Those are the two.
Gate 2 was better because it's outside the Air Force Base, though. Kintown, dude, it was just dudes.
Well, let's talk about the main thing though. You have to you have to be on base by a certain time.
Yeah,
So you have to sign out
back on base by midnight. So
So
your goal is to get as
Just
far
get it in.
as possible
Yes.
before midnight.
Yeah, and then all the women come out at 11:30.
So that would create a
God
certain
damn it.
type of demographic coming back on base. And the only thing that's open is the E-Club, which turns into a gladiators academy, to say the least.
The E Club is a a bar on base
The only bar.
for enlisted Marines.
Yes.
Exclusively.
Yeah.
You might as well just call it the testosterone.
Oh my god, dude.
But if you're stateside, no one goes.
No.
So when
I
you
used
look
That's
to
so
at,
true.
I
That's
used
so
to go to
true.
1 in 29 Palms, and I
Really?
was like the only guy there.
You know,
But
you're
it's cheap
one of the only
drinks.
dudes that, like, tell me what you thought about 29 Palms.
I know people either love it or hate it.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. For me, I was there with a good group of guys. We hung out a lot together, and Lake Havasu was only 2 hours
Oh,
away.
shit.
So we used to go to the lake. Big Bear Mountain's an hour and a half. We would go snowboarding. As far as like location, it was centrally located. As long as you knew somebody with a car or you had a car, you could rip it up.
Do whatever you want,
You
right?
can go to Vegas. Vegas is 3 hours
Yeah,
away.
I heard you guys' Marine Corps balls were always in Vegas. I was
Every year,
always
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I've never been to
Caesar's
Vegas.
Palace.
What's
Yeah.
Vegas? What's Vegas like?
It's
Just everything you hear about?
it's like an adult Disney World.
Yeah. Oh, so me and my buddy, we've been talking about doing this trip because hogs are such a nuisance in Texas. They do these helicopter
Wait, what?
tours.
Hogs?
Yeah, like pigs.
Oh,
Not the women you
yes,
sleep
yeah.
with. No, but like they're such a nuisance down there. You can literally just shoot as many as you want from the
I heard that's
helicopter.
pretty badass to do, dude.
Yeah, if there's anything that's going to be good for us veterans after war, it's shooting pigs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it helps out the landowners. Those.
No, they wanted to have it because they're killing farms down there. So
they're killing livestock,
and then like the proceeds go back into the land. So it's not like it's for anybody that's all upset about just shooting pigs. It's not. It's there's actually a reason for it because they're killing farms down there and. Wildlife. But they reproduce at such a rapid rate too.
Gotcha.
Where it's like a Burmese python in the Everglades. Another nuisance. I guess they do the same thing down there too.
You're just full of random facts, my friend.
Did you know that the python is not
Watch a
native
lot of
to
Rogan.
Florida?
It's not native to Florida. Someone
Burmese.
brought it over.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a lot of things like that in Florida, dude. People just bring shit over there.
Florida's just a wild place.
Yeah,
in
it is,
general.
dude. Whenever you hear just a fucking off-the-wall story in the news, dude, always Florida.
Always Florida.
Yeah, but you remember the pandemic? Where'd you want to be? Florida. They're the only ones that kept on. At least they kept the standard. They still did what they were asked to do, but after a while, DeSantis didn't budge.
Yeah, that's true.
No, they
Love
wanted
that
him
guy.
to, but he didn't. And thank God he didn't, because
we
Florida's
need
a
that.
state that relies on tourism. And,
It is.
Florida
That's
has
kind of breaking down a little bit, though, dude. Disney has been like kind of declining.
Well,
over the years.
but there's so much more to see other than Disney down there. The issue is that now it's like a mass exodus. Everyone on the East Coast moved down to Florida. Everyone on the West Coast moved down to Texas because they didn't want to deal with those states anymore. The tyranny that the government has now. Once they take away your anything, good luck getting it back.
Yeah.
I remember when I think it was the state of New York. They made all strip clubs hands free. How do you go in front of politics and say, "Hey, we need to bring this back"? You're never getting it back. Just like because you have to. I would love to be the guy in court.
You're on
book on
it.
the hand on the Bible.
That's so
bring back
absurd.
tits. But it's not gonna happen.
let's we introduced Mike. I got my introduction. Sean, let's talk about you a little bit. Let's talk about how you came into the Marine Corps.
Where you grew up.
Where you met us.
Yeah,
let's bring that up a little bit.
I grew up in a town north of Boston. It's called Topsfield. My upbringing wasn't the best, so I was trying to get the hell out of the situation I was in. So at first, I actually joined the Army. It was the split option program. It was right out of my junior year. I would go to boot camp and then come back, finish my senior year, and then go back to my MLS school. But
I heard about that.
it's the guy was lying to me, and
Junior year of high school?
yeah. So you do that for your. It's called the split option program, and then I always wanted to be a Marine though, and then. When I talked to the Marine Corps recruiter, I told both of these guys, like, listen, you don't have to make anything sound fancy to me. I'm joining regardless. I don't really care to do anything else. So just don't put a
Just take care.
don't sugarcoat me.
Yeah,
Just tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
So I ended up. My Marine Corps recruiter was a lot better. Shout out to Staff Sergeant Scott. He was great to me, and then on top of that, he was like the first tank that entered Fallujah during the invasion. So. One of the most badass motivational videos I've ever seen. That got me right there. So I said MP because I always wanted to do K9. Tanks, just because he was a tanker, or infantry because, let's go and get some.
Right.
But I got MP, which is, I was grateful for at the time. And then from there I went to Lejeune, but I got non-deployable orders. That's the thing about being an MP. I'm sure you remember that. Is either you can get 4 deployments or you can get none in 5 years. It's a lot of guys got stuck with deployments that we didn't want. So I was at Lejeune for so long, I was like, cut me orders to the next field unit. Got that and went out and I was able to deploy through, CLB4, nothing crazy, just combat security and, just little odd jobs around.
Where'd you come from? So you came from Lejeune to Oki.
Yeah, it was Lejeune, PMO, which there was a lot of activity going on because that
Talk
base.
about that a little bit.
So that base had a lot of in and out, incoming, ongoing deployments all the time. Like it was just always rotating units, just because that's a very active base.
Right.
And just with that, there would happen to be a lot of domestic violence. I never liked the job because I never wanted to screw a Marine over. Like if I was at the gate and this sounds terrible, but if you were drunk and but I could tell you could drive, dude, you made it. Just
So you
get back
had
to your
the
barracks.
ability to walk the line.
I didn't join the military police to screw over other
Absolutely,
Marines.
absolutely.
That was my big thing. Is I wanted to make sure that I was part of that brotherhood, that fraternity.
And you definitely see that group of people that try to do that, dude, and I can't understand.
There's
that.
those guys and everything, though. It could be a job at
True.
Walmart. It could be a job. It could be a job in the Marine Corps. You know, you're always going to have that one or two that you always have to look out for. But dude, the MPs, though, you really learn how to read people. You know, and you learn how to understand mannerisms. You know, and you can kind of sniff out a lie pretty easy. But you know, I mean, through this, I went to Okinawa, met you over there in 3rd Marine Division. That was probably the tightest unit that we've ever had because it was just a field unit full of guys that were hungry for deployments.
We're looking for that varsity jacket.
And we
really looking to.
Yep. But the only thing that I remember all of us realized is that we could never deploy together. So we all got pockets of deployments. Like you went with a team, I went with a team, so on and so forth. And that was the only thing is that like because of that, you don't really get the camaraderie with the entire unit, but. Our First Sergeant
Schultz,
and Helfrich before that.
Yep.
I remember we would, if we went out to the E Club because we were kind of a new company. He used to say, "Listen, if anyone's giving you shit, don't be afraid to show them who you are."
Roll deep.
Meaning, we would. I remember if one guy got jumped, which I don't know if you remember Bice getting jumped.
It happened a lot, man.
Yeah. So dude, we just started going to the E Club with 30, 20 deep, whatever, and we were just so triggered by anybody that would just talk shit to us. It was just like one dude would get hit, and then anyone else that was in the area was just, sorry, buddy, you're going too.
Yeah.
You should learn not to come here anymore.
I'm telling you, I brought Sean over to Foster when you were there.
I don't know. Yeah, when I attached the CLB4, I was actually there
on
stationed.
Foster?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was.
And then you fapped over to Hampton? Or did
No. Hanson was 3rd Marine Division went there. We started at Courtney, if you remember correctly.
That's right.
Yeah, so we started at Camp Courtney, which we had a private beach, had a lot of fun, parties, but we were in pretty much like, it was all S4 and communications, which is, just all administrative guys. Mm-hmm. And then MP Company had the 4th floor, which was just a bunch of maniacs.
In the barracks, you think?
Yeah, we would be, if there was a typhoon, we'd be, very homoerotic, unfortunately, because that's for some reason the military. But we'd be doing like putting like soap detergent on the floors and doing slip and slides all the way down the hallway. Like it'd be so funny because people would come up from the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor to come with us. We're like, "Oh, get the fuck out of here! You're not allowed." No, best. We had a lot of camaraderie, but.
So you liked Japan?
I didn't at first. The first year was just like, "What am I doing here?" But. It's a culture shock for a lot of us. If you I always tell everybody, if you want to go see a new country, you go to Japan because it's such a. If you're from here and you want to get a nuanced idea of what the world's like, you go to Japan. And it's like, what the hell am I?
I feel like it humbles you a little bit.
It does, and in a positive way, I really do believe that. I think everyone should travel and really
definitely. Gives you a different perspective.
Because I didn't want to go at first. I
agree.
Well, I'm at Lejeune. Now I have to start with a new unit. Now, I'm the new bitch. I don't want to deal with that. Yeah. I want to just make sure I deploy with the guys I know already. And that doesn't always happen. But I think that's why a lot of us also get out at the end.
I wish that the Marine Corps kind of polished up the getting out policy.
I wish it just
a little bit more, dude.
I wish it was like World War II. You stuck with the guys you know. Like you go to boot camp with these guys, you deploy with these guys. I don't like how... I don't know if you guys felt the same way. When I joined, I felt like that was the same concept. Like, you meet these guys in boot camp and you go all the way to war with them, and then, like, those are your buddies from day one.
Yeah.
But when we join the Marine Corps, you get your boot camp guys. Everyone obviously disperses into their own respective MOS schools and infantry school, and then you go to your separate units and so on and so forth. And then, you might bump shoulders one day, walking,
It does suck.
But the other part of it is that when you hit your... Say you do more than one term, but you do your first enlistment, you'll know that these guys are all dispersing anyways.
Yeah.
And that was the most bittersweet part about all of it, is that I just remember like looking at when I got orders out or orders here or orders there, it's just like, oh, that means I'm not going to see these guys possibly ever again. And, I think that's another thing.
I feel like at the moment, though, you don't think about it, dude.
No, well,
it doesn't hit you to after.
That's
bittersweet.
Something that you put, that it's coming, but you put that in the back of your mind.
No, but you always think, dude, I'll keep in touch with these guys. Like, they mean a lot to me.
I don't know, man.
Time changes things, man. It kind of...
And it's no fault of anybody.
No, it's not. It's not what I'm saying at all, but no one thinks at the moment you'll never see someone again,
No, nobody thinks, like, when you... Yeah, I mean, I went to Oki first, and then to 29 Palms.
I think that would have been better.
Yeah, so definitely.
I was a PFC showing up there. And I met good friends there, but I was with a wing unit, so
gotcha.
we weren't hooking and jabbing. When I left there and went to 3rd CEB as a division unit, it was definitely a different element. Way different element of leadership, different element of operations. The barracks were different. The way these guys hung out together was different.
Yeah.
You're talking 29 from Japan.
I'm talking, essentially wing unit
to line unit.
Line unit, yeah.
Yeah, and especially when you go to a base where everyone is confined at midnight, like unless you had your gold card, meaning that you were a corporal or above.
Sean did.
I got mine at like the last 2 months, so I ended up enjoying it, and it really does makes the difference, because then you can go to
get into the culture a little bit.
Well, yeah, then you can stay out, and then it's like really like I am in a foreign country right now. So I went a little too hard, man. I didn't have any deployment money, because I came back and I had like 2 months until I was getting out of the Marine Corps completely, and I was like, well, I have all this nice money from deployment. Let's see what this country's all about. You know?
Something.
Oh, by the way,
single Okinawa moms in business or what?
Soapy's was, I didn't keep them in business. I definitely, but I was more nervous to get a.
Were you a Soapy's or were you a Yoshi guy?
I went to Yoshi's, but they kept on saying Japanese only, and I was with my big Japanese black friend, which is this is hilarious, dude. So I'm in Soapy's, like, first time ever being around hookers. If anybody doesn't know, Soapy's in Yoshihara's is Yoshihara's a red light district. Soapy's is something that we'll get into in a second, because this is Americans should really take an idea.
Page out of the book,
dude. It's because that's pure service. But but yeah,
add that to the barbershop experience.
Yeah, dude. So I'm with my buddy Tank. It's like he was like my Bubba Gump, as if I was Forrest Gump, he was Bubba.
Okay.
And big black dude from Macon, Georgia, man. And we're walking around. I've never been here before, so I hear no Japanese only, no Japanese only. I'm like, oh shit, and I see this one that's like, this is the one.
Keep in mind the Yakuza clearly runs this place.
Oh yeah, but it's business, man. They're kind of. I'm a paying customer, so I'm there. I'm never done this before, just young-minded. And here, I see this girl, beautiful, no Japanese only. I'm like, God damn it. So I'm like at this point, like, I'm done. I was ready to get out of here. I turn around and she invited my buddy Tank right in.
Come on, no.
I was like, oh man,
slap in the face.
Buzz Killington, man. Buzz Killington. I figured Yoshi's wasn't for me, so I tried Soapy's the next week. No, have you?
No, I've never been.
5-star experience or no?
She could have been better looking.
So I believe.
Like they don't have fluoride in the water over there.
Oh man.
So
the teeth, dude. That's definitely something. Yeah. So
right.
the difference between Soapy's and Yoshi, from what I've heard, is Yoshi's is a kind of like a just walk-in establishment, where Soapy's kind of wipes you down, brings you through the whole massage, kind of puts it on you a little bit.
5-star.
5-star.
Dude, if Robert Kraft knew about this place, he went to that place in Florida.
Forget it, right?
It's like I'm taking my jet to Soapy's.
Dude, he got some shit for that, dude. Jeez.
I know, dude. I actually was in Florida. I was looking for the place. They already changed the name and everything.
Oh, the place that he went to?
Yeah, his rub and tug.
Or Asian Orchards or Orchids of Asia, something like that.
Do you ever think about that? Like, he probably thought that was a layup, just to get a little quick rub and tug. He didn't think any of this was going to happen.
Imagine that getting blown up all over social media, dude.
I can't imagine being worth that kind of money.
That's some lazy
jerk.
Someone was just mad at him, dude.
That's some lazy billionaire business right there.
Yeah.
Just have her over your house.
Seriously, dude.
Yeah, I don't understand.
That's some type of horn dog right there, dude. Like, have that kind of money, you can do anything you want, and you actually do something like that.
Dude, I knew I liked him because whenever he wears like his nice suits, he wears like Jordans with it.
Yeah,
he's
getting
in touch with his inner brother.
Yeah, Air Forces and shit. Always fly ass snakes.
Yep.
All right, so Japan, you rocked it, and did you get immersed into the tattoo culture at all?
Yeah, actually, I went to a bar and I got this one, which is kind of
talk about it.
Just a collada. I was young and I come from Irish heritage. I got, all of this, but tattoos were cheap.
I feel like they do a good job, really good job.
They do. I just wish I stayed out of the sun after I got them, which was tough to do over there.
I'm the same way, dude. My floor out here is all sun faded. And
I don't have the it just seems like so much because I want to get it all fixed, but it's a laser.
Did you hear recently they changed the policy on it?
Oh yeah, after when we were in, they did sleeves up, and then they did. Remember they went sleeves down for a while. All those guys in Okinawa got sleeve tattoos. They went back to sleeve up. If you have tattoos that you can't cover with your fist or your palm, You're out of here.
Me and Mike were talking yesterday, and this is no shot at what I'm about to say, but when we were in, it was don't ask, don't tell. And if you think
told
about
everybody.
If you think about it now, dude, if you think about it now, you can't even say something like that.
Dude, I remember the Navy went crazy. In the
Do you remember when it changed?
Oh, do I?
That was a eye opener.
Yeah, dude, I was so sore the next morning. I was kidding. Dude, actually, I got fucking roofied in Okinawa. I'm not even lying. Thank God for shout out to Big Duff for saving my ass, literally and figuratively. Those fucking Air Force guys too, man.
Oh, you were over
So no, it was payday weekend, and you know how everyone's trying to get a honcho for honcho meaning cab or boss.
Hancho.
Honcho 4433 or Union San. And so it is Orion Beer Fest. So we're at Beer Fest, like it's like all right, Slam, let's go to Chili's where the happening spot, over there, or the Banyan Tree, which was the E Club.
Oh yeah.
So I remember like we're two single guys, like we find a cab, and I don't know if you remember, like, but it's payday weekend, finding a cab's impossible.
Yeah.
So we had one. We have to hit the ATM before we get there because we're gonna, figure out how much cash we had so we don't use our card and be broke on payday weekend. That happened a lot. And
that's the worst though.
Yeah. So ATM line. This dude runs over. He's by himself, which is strange, especially when you're in Japan, because I'm pretty sure every military branch would say, "Hey, battle buddy, whatever." You're not. It's, and Air Force is always lax, so I didn't think anything of it. And so he's like, "Hey, man, I need a cab. I've been waiting here for an hour. Do you mind if I hop in? I'll pay for the rest of your cab fare, and I'll buy you the first round of drinks."
Cold.
Come on in. Yeah. Settle up, partner.
You want to sit on my lap?
And then, well, he probably would have loved that, unfortunately. So we start playing pool, and I don't think anything of it. He comes over with 2 Bud Lights, one for me, one for my boy. I have one. He's like, I'll get the next round too. Next round, I get the spins.
Really? Right away?
Dude, it was like, I knew something was going on. And I'm like, Steven, we got to get out of here. And sure enough, like, we get in the cab, and I just remember, like, just getting to the barracks, and then I just blacked out from there. But I know I made it home. Someone's thinking some bullshit right now.
I swear I did.
Is that when his voice got higher?
That's when I stopped remembering.
Definitely some of the...
No, I just wake up crying randomly. It's just it's strange. No, I'm kidding.
Some of the most intoxicated times of my life were definitely in Japan. There's a lot of heavy drinking.
There's nothing else to do.
No, there is nothing else to do.
Dude, I hit a wild boar out there, and I thought I hit a little Asian guy because I woke up and there's blood. This is a true story. Ask Whitten about this.
You can't just say that and gloss over it. You did what?
So,
you hit a boar?
Me and our other friend Sean, won't say his last name. So
Waltham.
No, it was Claver. It was me and Claver. We were visiting Whitten because everyone got back from deployments. Oh, fucking ear drop. We were all getting back from different deployments at this time, and everyone was kind of EAS and at the same time. Yeah. So we were originally, he was at Hanson, and everyone else was at Hanson, but I was at Foster. So I went out there to see everybody, and my buddy had a car. He just found out his wife was cheating on him when we were out overseas. So sure enough, like, he's just trying to have a night out and enjoy it. So the Jameson was flowing that night. So we see our boy Sean. He didn't do this, but my buddy, he was just like, "Hey man, we got to go to the gate too." He's like, "I can't drive." I'm like, "All right, I'll drive." I didn't have a license out in Japan. It's on the left-hand side of the road too. Obviously, like when you head up the highway, like you got the gates and everything. Dude, so we go down to Gate 2 Street. Don't remember anything after that. But we woke up by Schwab, which is the most northern part of the island, if you guys remember.
Yeah, I know what Schwab is.
Looking at the ocean.
Why the fuck
Too
did you
flat.
go to Schwab, dude? That's so
I don't know. I clearly got lost.
It's like a 2-hour drive.
Schwab is where they do jungle warfare.
Yeah,
training,
dude.
I went there, and I never want to go back.
No, there was nothing there.
Wake up with a Hawu sitting on your chest. No, but we
had
had
a sick beach there, though.
Oh, it's beautiful up there, but it's very remote, and there's no, like, luckily we had our gold card, so, because this wouldn't have made any sense, but, dude, like, I literally had 2 weeks until I was going home for good, like, getting out of the Marine Corps, and then all of a sudden, we wake up there, there's 2 flat tires, and there's black matted hair and blood in the hood. I'm like, oh my god, I'm never leaving this island. And you know how, like, after you drink and the next day starts the pieces start coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we hit there's wild boar out there. We hit a wild boar. We ran over it, popped the tires. Luckily, this is no lie, we ended up breaking down right next to an auto mechanic shop. Like they must have known that we were complete idiots because they gave us 2 new tires. Like, oh, get out of here! Just
really?
Yeah, just get out of here.
Lucky, dude.
Good.
No kidding, man. This shit haunts me. But
Got some fresh tires on the low.
you know,
Where are we going after that?
so we're gonna break right now.
No, we're good. We're talking.
Oh, all right. So from there, we obviously, that's all fine. That gets handled. And I just remember, we came down to
First of all, what kind of car was it?
it was like an Australian, it was like a little Honda Passport.
This is Sean's car?
No, this is my buddy George's car. I'm not going to name his last name for all his purposes. But yeah, no, it was his car. Like, we were all getting out literally. I was in 2 weeks. He was in the next couple months. So we were just all kind of really trying to enjoy the time together spent, because all in the back of our minds we knew this is all coming to an end. And obviously we're all from different parts of the country, you know.
And as guys, dude, that's such a awkward thing. I'm not awkward, but we don't show emotion, dude.
You don't want to be the guy calling all the time, hey man, you hanging out? Hey man,
it's not only that, dude. We're especially from where we're from, we're almost bred to not make it as quick and painless as possible. All right, dude.
Yeah, we're not supposed to cry.
You know what I mean? But I hear you. And
dude, I think that's what fucked me up getting out though, man. Because when you just I just remember living the fast life, coming out of Afghanistan. Mindset, I'll never see these guys again. I originally left to get away from shitty home life and everything, and now it's just
hold on, slow down real quick.
Yeah.
So something that we base this podcast around is, or that I really want to base this podcast around, is to try to be open about PTSD, to be open about the mental health struggles that we go through. I feel like that's not something that we were taught while we were in the Marines.
right.
I feel like, honestly, when we were getting
You're a
out,
hard target.
it was kind of just coming up. If you remember, it was kind of just being brought up to us.
Well, no one knew what this war ended up going on for 20 years, and now you want to add on to that whole situation. We just pulled out of Afghanistan in the worst way possible. We're the new Vietnam vets. I say that all the time. This must have been how the Vietnam vets felt when they got out of all that. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that famous picture when they were leaving Saigon. We had the same one leaving Kabul.
Yeah.
They not an Oscar.
History repeats itself, man.
History repeats itself, and it's tough, man, because it's we're the.
Explain that a little bit, though. You're assuming everyone is military right now, and honestly, we have a lot of civilian followers, man. And something that I'm starting to realize is we need to break this down to them so they understand it. So, really pulling out and coming out of country and just coming to a point where you just go home is like going 1,000 miles an hour to just a slow halt. And it does something to the human psyche that I don't think is fully understood at this time. And honestly, when you're not well versed on it, it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, and the thing that I definitely learned, I don't know if you guys have seen Restrepo before. Sebastian Younger, he's an anthropologist, but he's also
great documentary.
Obviously gone out with those guys, and
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Restrepo?
He's also got this book called Tribe, and if you haven't read it as a veteran, I highly recommend it, because it kind of it really intertwines what it's like to be part of a unit, part of something that's bigger than you. His first chapter, he talks about Native Americans and the early settlers that came to the United States. What happened with them was that they got kidnapped by the Native Americans, and when you got kidnapped, you were made part of the tribe. That meant you also hunted and gathered just like the tribe did. You had to be a part of the turning wheel. If we're going to feed you, there's a reason why we're feeding you. You're part of this unit, or this platoon, this tribe. And a lot of times when they actually got released back to their counterparts, the Western society of that time, they ended up wanting to leave and go back and join the tribe. And that always resonated with me, and how that correlates to being in a platoon.
Absolutely.
So you look at all these guys that, especially during our time, the GWAT, Global War on Terrorism era, which is our generation. We've been we were in a war that already had politics all over it before it even started. And even if we didn't like what we were doing, we still did it for our guys who are right and our left. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I like how you just put that.
You know, we're going to do it for our brothers.
The politics didn't matter.
No, it never mattered.
We touched on that a little bit in the last episode.
And,
none of that stuff mattered. Your race didn't matter.
It was about getting him and him home.
Right.
But the other thing is, though, is now that we've been home, now you're going to get those questions. Now you're going to have all these people like, well, what did you think about the war? And that isn't, I mean, it's a fair question to ask because, you know, look at what just happened. All of our doing for the past 20 years.
Dude, I don't even want to bring that up, man.
But, I mean, but it's like, but that has to do with a lot of our psychiatric health as well, too, is like, what did you use us for? You know, it's like, if there's ever a truer time that, you know,
because you want to feel
Fortunate Son was a real song.
You want to feel like you did something.
You know, Fortunate Son by CCR. Once again, you
Classic.
know, we ain't no Fortunate Sons.
Right.
You know, but we volunteered for this. You know, and that's the other thing that used to bother me is that, well, you volunteered to go, so you should have understood the repercussions.
Someone's got to do it.
That shit is one of the most frustrating things I've ever heard. Is that, well, you volunteered. You're damn right I volunteered.
Yeah.
I'll volunteer
Right,
tomorrow to go because I'm not sure you can handle it. They're already saying, you know, because they're already saying these kids nowadays, look at this generation, you know.
What do you think would happen if there was a draft right now?
I would join just so I could fist fuck someone's eye socket for that. I'm sorry, but
No, I hear you. I'd be scared. I'd be scared for the country.
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing is that it's all about leadership. There's no leadership.
We said this the last
When it comes down to leadership, it's a lot of these people. They're stuck in these ways because their parents are soft. And you look at these kids of nowadays. You know, it's also the age of technology. You know, I'm 33 years old. I remember coming up, like, you know, there's no cell phones. Like we had.
Honestly, we're part of that era that was the first breach into it.
Well, the technology. If you look at a chart, it goes like this, and it just goes straight from, you know, once the iPhone came out, it just didn't stop. But us as human beings, we're not programmed to deal with this in this quick of a rapid manner. This is a heavy moving evolution.
Absolutely.
And you know, and they're almost phasing out the typical soldier or marine now. Everything's going to be digital.
Something that we talked about is the alpha mindset.
Yeah, we gotta stop. We gotta bring back bullying because we're letting these IT kids fucking run the show.
Think about it, dude.
Yeah.
The way we were brought into the military was to become an alpha. You built yourself in the gym.
Especially in the Marine Corps.
Absolutely. And now they are like phasing. It's almost like they look at the alpha like, settle down, buddy. Go ahead and you know,
Hit the shower.
see your way to the door.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Well,
We're worried about shaves and haircuts now. Like,
Yeah, that shit doesn't win wars.
yeah, there's I don't know if you guys watched Thank You for My Service. It's the gentleman that's in the newest Tom Cruise movie, the Top Gun. He's Goose's son.
I couldn't watch it, man.
But he plays a character in Thank You for Your Service, and I thought it was very good for a movie that resonates for the veteran coming home. So the premise is he's an Iraq veteran coming home, and things just start going wrong. And he ends up seeing his colonel at the VA hospital, and he goes, "What are you doing here? I need my NCOs to be strong." You know, it's like, without even...
The colonel said that?
Yeah, the colonel says it to him, who's a staff sergeant, also a platoon sergeant, the RS squad leader in the movie. But it's like, we've always been figured out as we don't have any issues coming home, and a lot of us, we don't want to admit it anyways, but you know,
No, you want to play that strong silent type.
I know in the Marine Corps you get 2 weeks of SEPs and TAPs, and no one gives a shit because you just wear civilian clothes for 2 weeks.
The last thing you're thinking about is
you're thinking about
yeah.
college.
Yeah.
It's like you're not really prepared. There's nothing that really prepares you. If anything, there should be almost like a program like that, just kind of a welcome home program.
Yeah.
They do.
Or just some kind of onboarding. I mean, guys like us that have been out. Listen, this is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to see.
They don't teach interview skills.
No.
You need to know how to build a resume.
Yeah.
You need to know the correct direction of employment you're looking
Something
towards. And their job is, all right, did we talk about this? Check. We talked about this.
Yeah, I remember.
Check. All right, boys, have a good one.
You go to the VA.
Yeah, exactly.
You go to the VA, and she's reading off a screen of the questions to ask you. There's no nuance to those
So
questions.
we talked about this in a couple of our other episodes. What's your experience with the VA? Tell us about the VA.
Do you use the VA?
Yeah.
I do. So unfortunately, I had a mess of problems that I was kind of jumping into when I got home.
Join the club, my friend.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, I come from a family where, opioid addiction was actually a big thing. We had friends in Charlestown robbing pharmacies, and then unfortunately my brother got involved with that, did some time, but I had surgery while I was also in, so when I came home, it was just, drugs were just waiting for me. But even when it came down to the VA, I would say I had this problem, that problem, the other problem, and they just had generically with a blanket statement just give you these types of meds, and some of those meds are showing to have signs of deeper depression, deeper issues, and I'm just at the point where I just, I don't want to be a pill guy. I feel like our generation, even from children in the 90s, that's when I feel like it started. There's kids like, hey, oh, that kid's depressed, here's a pill.
Well, it was pushed it was the savior. There was no problems.
Come all and all with pharmaceutical companies. That's why it's just hard for me to even, what happened to, how did human beings and civilization get to this point, through all of it, without all these vaccines?
You're talking deep shit, man.
But I'm not denying the vaccine. I'm just saying there just seems to be a money trail, and we should look at that.
Of course.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying, at the end of the day,
It's a bigger picture.
But it's because I have such a sour taste from the VA trying to give me pills, and just like, I was fine, like around my brothers. That would always be my thing. I feel fine around my brothers, my Marines, my boys.
You said that in a couple of episodes.
But
there's never
why do all of a
someone
sudden
you're
I
more
need
comfortable around.
But now I need a pill to act normal in society. It just didn't make sense to me. Why? Like I feel like no, society needs to change, but obviously that's not going to happen.
Right.
We can say that all day, but
we've come into a society where we're all isolated in our own homes. Look at COVID. COVID, that did more damage to veterans than anything else, because because the regular civilian population suffering.
COVID truly was an eye-opener to a lot of things, man.
Dude, I know even like just from my personal experience, I see a therapist once a week, and when COVID came, they wanted to do it via the
Zoom.
The Zoom, yeah. I can't look at you through the computer screen and open up about my real feelings.
No,
it's hard enough
of
for me
course
to do it with you sitting here.
Yep.
Now you want me to do it on the
I did on
TV?
Zoom.
Like,
I didn't mind it on Zoom just because, due to traffic in Boston, obviously.
right?
But,
Okay.
Convenience.
No, but other than that, no, it takes away the intimacy of the interview, and because
How do you feel about opening up to a random person, dude? It was a colossal
I did-
problem for me, man.
I did this thing called Operation Home Base, which I recommend. It's through
Yep.
the Mass General Hospital.
Yep.
But what they do is they do a lot of they get down and into it. They want you to talk about the day that haunts you the most, and you're gonna tell that story. Like, what did the air smell like? What temperature was it outside? And you're gonna keep on saying it over and over again. You're gonna keep on telling your story. You'll be bawling your eyes out, but you're dealing with the situation. You're actually putting it on the table and you're looking at it. And that's what we're supposed to do as Marines, anyways.
That's what they have me doing in Providence.
Yeah, dude, I mean, it helps.
Did either of you hear about I think it's MDRA? So basically, I don't know if they're trying it with me as like a new study or something, but it's a green light that goes back and forth like this. There's a therapist in front of you, and you have to bring up the most traumatic story or a traumatic story that you went through and focus on the green light going back and forth.
No, I didn't do that one.
That's like supposedly the front runner for treatment for PTSD right now. And I did that for about 3 months, and it's supposed to...
Well, how do you feel then?
It didn't do it. All something like that does is in the moment gets me hyped up, thinking about it, and I go home and I'm like,
now you're tense.
Yeah, now it's
you know what I'm
fresh.
saying? Like, it just...
No green light.
Well, I know this is
No
obviously
green light anymore, yeah.
I know hallucinogens are very taboo on me too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
So one thing that actually helped me out was psilocybin. There's these chocolate mushroom bars. It's supposed to actually one bar is it's the size of a Wonka bar, but one bar is considered an eighth of mushrooms. Now,
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. I've never done mushrooms.
Well, so
Never, huh?
there's something that
Scared.
I don't want
Should
to.
be.
I don't want to speak too much about them, but especially these chocolate ones, these are actually measured out and calculated properly. But you don't have to take the full bar. You can actually microdose, and there's actually a lot of studies showing that veterans have a huge success rate with depression, PTSD by microdosing mushrooms, because there's something that opens up your receptors in your brain, and there's a clarity there. next episode, guys. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, but it's honestly something that I can speak volumes on, like where it's helped me out. Like there's a nuanced feeling after you're done the next day, like, you know, there's literally heroin addicts that never want to touch it again because they tripped, and there's like, I don't know, there's something there. And there's doctors looking into it. It might, you know, because it's Massachusetts, it might take 10 more years around here.
Right.
But you know, it's I think it's a positive step because it's not. There you go, bud. It's not a it's not something that's gonna be addictive. It's not addictive. I don't like
You don't need it.
I don't like a medication that the VA says, hey, give yourself 2 months. You're gonna wean yourself on.
So true.
Well, if this doesn't work, now I have to wean myself off, and now I'm in this mess. It's
Right.
I'm not doing that. And
I think some of the scariest stuff is the antidepressants, dude. You have to get on
Retazepam.
something for like a month or two so it sets into your system and then changes your makeup, your mental makeup, and you have to stay on it for years, dude. And
then if you get mad, you're a combat vet. Oh, you gotta calm down. It's just like, what? No, I just.
it's kind of scary, man.
Yeah.
They had me on so many different kinds of antidepressants.
That's what I mean. It's almost like they were testing us, dude.
Yeah.
Gabapentin.
Yeah,
I don't take any of that. I smoke a little weed and then I drink a little beer, you know, and what's the harm in that? You know, it's what they were doing in the 70s, right?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I take 200 milligrams of Zoloft every morning.
I was on that for a little while.
Yeah,
and then if you don't take it, you
feel like
withdraw.
shit.
Yeah,
That's
Like you twitch.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
and that's my thing is I don't want to ever have to feel withdrawals.
Yeah, it's
Like
scary,
that's
man.
I've
It's
went
scary.
through it with
Yeah.
with other substances, and once you go through it, it's like you have the flu, but you have to go to work now. So good luck on the
Real life still applies.
Yeah, real life doesn't just you poor you know, and now but you take days off, you know, depending on what job you have. Well, you're not allowed to take a day off. You're gonna get fired. So if you have there's just. So I noticed something in Switzerland. What they did was something that's been obviously crazy that they were talking about in Boston was the safe injection sites. But the reason, the way they went,
allowing it.
but the way they did it makes sense. You enter as an addict a safe injection site. Okay, that means you're getting signed up into this program, this rehab program. So we're going to monitor your dose of heroin, make sure it's clean, because obviously the fentanyl issue is a huge thing right now. But through you coming in, we're going to slowly wean you off this dose. And by doing this, you just got signed up for a psychiatrist. You got signed up with a whole team of doctors to get you out of it. They pretty much eradicated their heroin problem in like 2 years. Yeah, but it's like, why don't we do that here?
A new way of looking at it. That's
Well, because fucking drugs are money.
Yeah.
Pharmaceuticals make money.
It's true.
Like that's like the thing that kills me the most. Here's a Suboxone. You know, this is gonna help you, but in reality, they just get high off that too.
Yeah, it's an opiate.
You know, it's an opiate, and then most of the time they just sell that because other people are hurting. It's just one big vicious cycle. I don't know. But it's like, especially veterans of the GWAT era, we fell right into it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, the opioid movement.
As we're staying on opium fields, you know.
Seriously.
Right, being over there burning the shit.
So that's how, honestly, the Taliban made a lot of their money. That's how they got their weapons. They would trade it with Pakistan.
Yeah, they would shoot at us with the same drug money that we're standing on.
Big facts.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's wild to think
Call
of
it
it
a
that
seer.
way, right?
You know, but we had to get out of there. They're like, but the way they did it just wasn't the correct way. I don't like it. I mean, what were we really going to do
They
there?
pulled out of there, you're saying?
Well, all these no bid contracts were just making politicians money, and we're the ones that suffer.
That's just
That's the
I'm finding out that's just
military-industrial
war.
complex.
That's the cog that keeps on spinning, man.
Was it Eisenhower that warned us about that
Yeah.
when he was president?
Yeah.
It's the dollar that drives it.
You
It's
know?
scary to think about when you're over there and you're like, dude, I'm a part of this right now.
Right. And you don't think of it as
No.
an aspect when you're over there.
And then it's like for lack of better terms, it's triggering when you come home and someone's like, you know, you didn't really fight for your country, or they have something to say about it. It's like, you think that at the time though, so it's like, it's such a kick in the pants when you hear other people saying, like, you know, then you really, if you really want to look at it honestly, like,
You're the bad guy.
you know, I put my life, you know, sweat, blood, and tears into the guys to my right and left, but the main purpose, it's like, you know, I remember like hearing the same thing, you know, we're helping the Afghan people. But are we really helping the Afghan people? Because in 6 months I'm going home, and then some other schmuck captain is gonna try to change
Same cycle that you just
or he's
did,
gonna,
yeah.
but he wants to
Or
make
he's
a
gonna
difference.
Make it his way.
And yes, and then and then all of a sudden, the populace is against you again. And there was no way to beat these tribes.
It's a vicious thing.
I mean, what's up?
Regardless, I gotta stop saying regardless. Oh my God.
Just don't say irregardless.
I've only counted 2 so far.
Anyways, so
Regardless.
the main thing that I want to get out of this podcast is to be able to get other guys like us talking about this. I feel like, as you said, there's no one I'm more comfortable around. There's
No better friend or worse enemy, man.
And we're not talking about it right now. We're dying, man. Have you seen the suicide rates?
You got too many, man.
Yeah, it's not good.
And honestly, I love YouTube. I think
Well,
podcast is like the new wave. And I never see anything really veteran related. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my Jocko Willick. I got Rogan's there every once in a while, but there's nothing really
Of our caliber.
Unless you have like motorcycle clubs like the American Infidels. I got a few buddies in that. But that's all it really is boiled down to, because our society's getting ripped apart, and it's not just here, but like for instance, one of my good friends, he's Vietnamese, and I'll go to his house because we do side work together, and all of a sudden, if he needs somebody to watch his kids, he's got 8 people to pick from, immediately. And I'm not saying this to be like holy, that's crazy, like as if there's too many people in the house. No, he has a community that he can reach into, and no matter what, there's family there.
There's no question.
And there's and that right there is a beautiful thing. And I know obviously as veterans, like that's something that we lack. Like when I got out of the Marine Corps, I joined the Army Reserves like 6 months later because I just needed that brotherhood. And,
I need the camaraderie.
And my buddy, it's standing over there. That's my buddy Al. He's been real supportive. We look out for each other, and that's one thing that we all struggle to even do as well, because a lot of us were just trying to stay in our own lane and make sure that we're doing our best just to stay there. So then when one of your brothers falls off of his or so on and so forth, it's like fuck. I haven't been checking on them, but you're trying to make sure that your room's clean.
Right. You're working on your own issues.
But it's tough. But I think by helping each other out, it helps clean our room. If that makes sense,
It does.
What I mean? Like, there's no better. Half the time in the Marine Corps, I didn't want to embarrass myself, so I acted accordingly, because I don't want to get roasted
that's stuck in you, man.
by this whole platoon of fucking alpha males, because I didn't clean my room properly. I had a fucking pube in my fridge. Don't know how it got there, but that seemed to be every field day.
You don't want to be that.
It's all even wrong.
Yeah.
We talked about 2 sheets and a blanket on the last podcast.
Oh yeah.
My favorite game.
Have you guys ever tried making a bed again?
It's not
18 inches fold.
You try to do it, but it's just like
I've done it a couple of times, and
the hardest part is the part on.
Well,
the
you
end
need
of
that
the
same
bed.
size bed. If you're working on a king or a queen, man.
dude, I'm working with a California king, and I'm trying to make this
Good
shit
for you,
happen.
man.
I'm like 21 inches away, not 18.
What do you want to see out of like a military podcast like this? What's something that you would watch?
I think like I love how Vev TV brings comedy in. I think a little bit of comedy, a little bit of just mental help. Marines, soldiers, anybody that's been in the military, especially combat vets, we all have a dark sense of humor, and I think that's always been our way of venting and taking care of each other. And if we do a little bit of that, we can grow this thing, link up with other veterans in the area, we can make fundraisers happen. I know, Andy, who does the Wounded Vets Run for motorcycles, he made that thing grow. Another friend, this guy Marvin Pena, we used to do a Wounded Vets Run, 5K and 10K. I'd like to bring that back, but obviously COVID happened, so.
Yeah.
But we do little things like this, little fundraisers. We can donate to certain military groups. We can all take care of each other. That's one thing my buddy and I, like in our platoon, he was always really good about Christmas. Let's put a pool of money together. Let's donate. He did this thing called Honor Stones, where the proceeds went to a military family that needed the help. And
That needs to happen more.
and if we do something like that, and because we're veterans that are just, I don't know, we're rogues.
Yeah.
We're just, we're all in the dust and, looking for each other. So,
That's what this is here for, man.
yeah, man, let's make this happen.
Especially a lot of vets, like, they're looking for something, but half of them don't even know what they're looking for.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't know that they're looking for camaraderie.
Well, I didn't know. I know that much.
You know, but when you have that, when you have that camaraderie back at home, it makes life a lot easier.
It does.
When you don't have that, you wind up isolated. You wind up as an individual, not a member of a group.
Yep.
And individualism, I think, is a big thing that's killing guys like us.
Yeah.
When you feel isolated like that.
It's true.
Well, and here's the other thing too, is that because obviously we're 1%ers as far as the population that actually went to join the military.
Yeah, so we talked about this before.
Yeah, so
explain that.
But so 1%, especially of this war, went and joined the military during Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, not only 1% joined the population. Now, imagine 10% of that 1% that actually saw combat. Now, even not that all doesn't matter, because even just join the military, say you don't even see anything, you're a part of a group, active duty group for 4 or 5 years, you're still going to deal with some type of detachment when you get home, because it's still a different lifestyle that you've been living in. You know,
You've created a different family.
Yeah,
now you're going to have to walk from that family again.
Yep, exactly, and it's crazy. But the problem is too and I'm also guilty of this too, is that, you know, like my union doesn't vet group, and I'm cool with those guys, but those aren't my guys. You know,
Right,
like
that's in a lot of these groups. That's
that's
exactly what it
the other
is.
part of it is, you know, like
It's not the same.
And you know how the Marine Corps was. Everyone's trying to big dick each other. Like, what's your stack like? What's this
Part of
like?
it.
You know, and like, oh, you weren't grunt. Yeah, I'm not a janitor now either. You know, I'm just kidding. Shout out to the grunts. You know, but I'll probably get shit for that. No, well, I hope it's a union job. But you know, but like I guess my whole point is that we're just such that alpha mentality. You join at 18, you're there in your early 20s. You know, and if you want to do another enlistment, it's your most influential years of your life. I mean, it's
Becoming a man.
you know, it's you. Yeah, you become a man through the Marine Corps. I mean, like I'm sure every high schooler believes that he's got all the bald hair in the world until he, you know. Then you look back at your old self, you cringe. It's like, oh man, I was a pussy.
Yeah.
You know? But it's something
You know,
that.
that's the thing is that's not the case with us, because we did the damn thing. We
so,
are part of that 1%, and we did join the Marines. And
Most regular civilians don't realize how small that percentage is.
Well,
1% of America enlists in something, and 1% of that 1% actually sees combat.
Well, let's put it this way, especially in this country. I have this tattoo, and it says, "We the unwanted, do the unwilling, for the ungrateful." And it sounds a little. It sounds a little hard.
Say that again.
Go slow for you.
Come on.
Let's get on. We the unwanted, do the unwilling, for the ungrateful.
Boom.
But that holds true for every war, though, because no matter what, you know, the warrior is only needed. You know, what's that saying? I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what we are. You know,
I've heard that before. That's pretty good.
I think it's Sun Tzu, maybe.
Sun Tzu.
Yeah, but it's true, you know, which is that philosophy holds true for every tribe. You know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that we come from tribes. We come from something that is in our DNA that's supposed to be around, you know, a number of people. Between, you know, like 40 to 50 people, you know, is considered their tribes back then.
Right.
So now that we're completely isolating ourselves, they say it takes 3 generations in America to either, you know, to pretty much lose your values. Like, you look at somebody that comes from a native speaking language that, you know, speaks Spanish, English, or Italian, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
They say in three years it loses its culture. You know, it's like, but what is that? Because it's, I don't know. Back in the day, even our parents and our grandparents, you looked at Boston, the Irish were here, the Italians were here, so on and so forth. Yeah. You don't even have neighborhoods anymore. It's just everything's just getting broken up to what's mine. You know.
Was anyone in your family military?
My uncle Tom, who I'm in the plumbers union with, he was 82nd Airborne.
But did you kind of take it on a whim?
It was my own choice. My grandfather also published a book, but I joined because of the World War II generation. That was the golden generation, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he wrote a book when he was in the Navy, and that was something that I took near and dear. I mean, growing up hearing those military stories. So.
All right, so I'm going to bring up a little something for us to kick up. PTSD. All of a sudden, it is huge. all of a sudden everyone's talking about it. And I say it like this because I was a part of it 5 years ago when I was just talking to a psychiatrist and no one knew about it. It wasn't cool then.
It wasn't accepted.
It wasn't something you just brought up because you were having issues. It was something that was diagnosed. It was something that was extensively talked about with one-on-one psychiatrist meetings. And I know it's new, and I know it's... Help me out, guys. I mean, I don't think it's something that...
I like I was saying earlier, I think it's because society's changing.
How so?
Because everyone's so isolated. COVID obviously put a rapid speed on.
What's the definition of PTSD for you?
I feel like it's pure isolation and being alone with your own thoughts, like where you can't relate to anybody. That's what it felt like to me, because it's.
When you say that, you mean you can't relate to any. No one can understand you.
No one understands where I'm coming from. I mean, obviously you guys do. But when you go back to your society, you're going back to your family members, you're going back to people that will never understand. You look at World War II, look at Vietnam. Vietnam vets got treated like garbage, but they still had community. As far as like there's a draft, there's still an abundance of the population that went. We're the 1%ers. So now we're immediately an anomaly to the rest of society. So now all of a sudden we're already the misfits. Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
now that we're the misfits, now we're even bigger misfits when we come home. Because I don't know if you guys remember, like, coming home, like, on leave, and your buddies are going to college. We're in the Marine Corps, and, we're training to do these things that, like, obviously we all signed up to do. Fight, learn how to kill.
Did you kill anyone?
Yeah. It's like, but it's, I don't longer get mad at anybody for that. I don't get mad about those questions. It's just ignorance, and it's like because a lot of these guys, especially these frat guys, they wanted to do it and they just didn't have the balls,
Yeah,
so
that a lot.
And it's like how many times you run into a bar and then all of a sudden they're telling you why they couldn't
wanted to
join,
join, but I just
like I didn't ask you a
haircut
question.
and
I don't care. It's like, dude, like I came here to let down my hair and have a few beers. I don't need to hear your story.
Be a normal dude. Yeah, I don't need to hear your hero story about how you almost joined.
Yeah, it's like it's in whatever, man. Like I see that as usually their problem, not mine, because they're obviously they're insecure.
The thing is, though,
about
I'm
themselves.
starting to see that civilians have PTSD. It's not just the combat.
Well, it must be all those fucking backpacks and all the fucking military clothing that they're wearing.
No.
How many guys you see with nylon shirts that couldn't call it nylon
Tell
in?
me about it. But it's something that
What's that?
I don't know if it's growing or. I mean, there's different. I don't want to say there's different levels, or there's different genres, tiers of it.
PTSD to me, when I try and describe it to people, is I've changed as a person.
Big time. Big time. Right
I'm
there.
no longer the person I used to be.
I am no longer the person I was before I went overseas, and that the way I embody myself being back is not how I used to be, and I equate that to that's the PTSD version of me. That's just who I am now.
Well, the other thing too
It
is
sucks to hear it that way.
No, that's real.
But that's real, dude. I'm not the same
Yeah.
guy before I went over.
and I think it's just that we mature so quickly. It's
Yeah, well, you have to. You have to. You don't have a choice. When it's life and death, you don't have a
But
choice.
then again, Mike, me and you were extroverts before we went into the Marines, dude. And I don't know. I think you still kind of are, but that has changed big time for me, dude. You said it earlier, dude. I'm kind of a homebody now, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go out.
Right. I have no interest in.
It's not for me anymore, man. And
I wish we could go back to like the 50s when like all these you ever seen like the guys in Brooklyn, they had their clubs, but it was like they had their own little club, like where they can all go and chill with each other from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We need
social clubs,
yeah, but we're all so stretched out now because now it's actually more expensive to live in the city now for some reason.
absurdly expensive.
But it's like there needs to be
We don't do a lot of those clubs. Like
No, it's not for
they're
us.
out there, like the American Legion, the VFW.
It's all civilians now.
Yeah, dude. The
I've never actually been in one.
The VFW in my town is a Marine Corps League bar, and it's all civilians.
So a VFW is something that you can be a part of if you're a civilian or military?
Well, they had
I
to
don't
because
know how it
they probably went under if they didn't because no one was.
They have to get dues.
Because here's the issue: is that when Korea, World War II, and Vietnam all happened, that's where they all congregated. The issue is that there's nothing worse than an old salty Vietnam vet. You know what I mean? Like just they almost made it so you didn't want to go in there. You know, like because it's not. It's a difference. There's a gap.
But there's something about having something just for you.
Right, and it's not like our war is totally different from any other war that's ever happened. Global war and terrorism is not force and force. That's why I say GWAT, because we were there to deal with insurgency pockets in these, especially like Afghanistan was tribal. You know, like
it's not like you're fighting against the whole.
Yeah, there's
country.
no army. Like we're not fighting an army. We're fighting tribes, and we've never done that really before. Like Viet Cong, you can say, but just there was still
Fighting
a full
religious
army.
extremists is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
People that interpret the Quran in an extreme way.
People that are more
We're
concerned
infidels,
with,
bro.
with taking out Americans than they are if they have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
There's no running water. There's no electricity there in the areas I was operating in.
The thing is,
But they knew how to fire
Like
a
the owner
fucking
does
gun.
for sure.
the thing is, I know you've changed.
Yeah.
I know you. I've known you before and after, and I've seen it in you. And I don't know. Really,
That's how I define PTSD.
Yeah.
I mean,
almost like a personality shift.
post-traumatic stress disorder. So the traumatic event was me going overseas. This is how it is now.
Let's
This
talk
is
about
how I-
stress disorder. What do you think the stress disorder is? Because I almost feel like it heightens my psyche or my personality, or I'm worried about everything.
I don't have stress from combat. I have stress from the society.
I think about everything, dude. I overthink about everything.
Yeah, I find myself in that scenario too. If I think about anything for more than a couple seconds, I overthink the fuck out of it.
Yeah, going to a grocery store used to be like my biggest pet peeve.
I hear that a lot.
Because,
Why
like,
is that?
Well, mostly market basket because I don't know what it is. Like the lanes are just too small, and then like
You
if there's
feel
two ham of two women's just talking it up, you're not gonna get your cart around, and now you're stuck. And there's something about being trapped, looking at pasta. In old fat ladies, you're like, I don't know, man. I gotta go.
That for me is traffic.
You get a couple boxes of Kraft mac and cheese, I'm out the door.
You're gonna drop the cereal, cinnamon toast crunch, and just start
yeah.
booking
Good
it.
cereal.
Good cereal.
I'll be back for you.
Yeah.
That for me is traffic. For some reason, it's just started with me.
I kind of miss the COVID traffic.
What do you mean COVID traffic? There was no traffic during COVID.
Amen.
The lack
Meaning
of
I can get to work in 20 minutes.
Yeah, facts.
I don't know. I there's too many people on this planet already.
I don't have to travel to the city for work. I'm thankful for that. I take back roads.
There's too many people here now.
Well, I mean, what do we got? Almost 9, 10. This is our first interview.
It is.
How do you feel?
I feel good, man. I think this was good.
I agree. It's showing a little bit of, when we bring in a branch of us, it shows a little, it almost cosigns a little bit about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not just me and you talking, it's other guys being like, yo, this is something.
Right. And this is just one of
Yeah.
thousands of dudes out
Yeah.
there that are looking to give.
We appreciate you
shit
coming
out
through,
there.
man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was definitely. a
We
pleasure.
understand that, a lot of the stuff you're talking about isn't easy to talk about. So please understand that, guys. Like, I mean, you see us having a good time, and keep in mind this is necessary to talk about this stuff. You gotta lube it up a little bit. You got.
Well, my thing with that, I'm sorry to cut you off. My thing with that is that, listen, for some reason we're all hard on each other as veterans. We're hard on ourselves. We did more than the normal American was asked to do coming right out of high school. So that right there, it's like from day one we picked a road that was, a beaten path, not a beaten path, but a path that no one wanted to go down.
Yeah.
So the fact that we picked that path before anybody, before we really knew what was going on, I don't know if you guys remember, like Parasol, all of a sudden you put your head down, and the next time you put your head up, you're looking at drill instructors. You don't know how long you're going to be there for. Like, no one else made that decision, and you know that with an active war going on, there's a good chance you're going to combat
Yeah.
We were
a
ready
chance,
for it.
We were going.
Yeah.
We were the kids that we were kids when shit started popping
Yeah.
off, and then when we grew older, I wanted to do my part. I wanted to fight.
Absolutely.
I felt like I owed.
This country
I owed
gives me
my
everything.
portion, you know.
Absolutely.
And I feel like more people of this era need to think that way.
Yeah, not enough do, but it's
You need
because
to understand who gave you the ability to be free, and that's kind of
Especially this weekend on 4th of July.
big weekend for us.
Big weekend for America. Celebrate the freedoms. You know.
And I mean, don't be like that's corny, man. That's real. If you didn't have guys like us,
So when you're eating your hot dog, you will think of me.
yeah,
Just kidding.
when you're slugging that glizzy down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One bite. in.
One bite it.
I'm not trying to be corny, but I'm trying
No
to be real
mustard.
right now, dude. I mean, if it wasn't for guys like us, dude, I mean these things wouldn't be around.
So this weekend, take your glasses, raise your glasses.
Put a
say
toast up. Put a toast up.
Some dudes laid their life out for our freedoms.
Some guys aren't here right now.
Amen.
I
to
mean, you
that.
both got the bands on.
Here's to
Talk
the
about
lost.
that. Talk about that shit real quick,
As
because they aren't here right now to talk about this.
23 names on this on my bracelet of engineers that either killed in combat or shot themselves.
Those guys are real.
You know, that's this weekend. I want people to remember that somebody did fight for the freedom for you to wave that flag, for you to wear that American flag bikini. Like, you know, somebody
You
laid
take
their
it
life.
off.
Yeah. Somebody laid their life out for you. So just keep that in mind. And again, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
hey,
a pleasure.
to the fallen guys. Fucking
Cheers.
cheers. bro.
Cheers.
We'll catch you guys on the next one next week. Stay tuned.
Drop it in the comments.
Drop
Tell
it-
us what you
yeah.
thought.
I asked them
First
for a whiskey.
interview.
They gave me this.
That's
I'm
the
kidding,
closest
I
thing
bought
I got.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Have a good fourth, guys.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Hard to kill.
Happy 4th.
Episode 4.
Well, thanks for having me.